Hello, good evening. Welcome to the second talk on Facebook Live about my about my Sahel trip to Niger to an expedition to see and import Azawakh. And actually today I want to cover more in-depth topics like I want to talk about actual objects that I have purchased and I want to show you those. And I even have a surprise. You can have the opportunity to win one of the original Nigerian Tuareg craftsman objects, but more on that later. I'll talk more about my personal opinion on the state of the institutionalized Azawakh breeding versus the population in the Sahel, in the original countries. And I want to talk more about my personal mission and vision. So, and actually, if you have not seen the first talk, I quickly want to show you the link. But how do I? So where do I see here chat box? I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Okay. Hello, Susanna Tini. So this will be packed with links, so bear with me. And it goes without saying that I heavily would rely also on your questions. So please just shoot your questions in the chat box, in the comment section, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. And I quickly want to share the next photo album of my trip. And there's actually another one. I think I haven't really shown that yet, so that's an exciting one with even videos. And feel free to open these. I don't encourage you to open every link right now, but it would be nice to open these photo albums so that you get an idea and you get a feel of what I'm talking about. Okay, another link. Okay, here we go. So I want to actually start off right in the middle by sharing the funniest story that has happened to me in the Niger trip. So I think it was in the second half of the journey. But just to back it up in one sentence or two, so I had the amazing fortune and luck to join Corinne Lundquist by her invitation to join her and her team to an expedition to Niger, and she actually organized these kind of trips in the past, like good 10 years, and other groups of ABIS also had been visiting regularly the countries of origin and had been important Azawaks. So now that I mention her, I wanna quickly show you her slideshow that she just recently shared. So this is actually about that trip that I also took part in. And all kudos goes to her on that and sharing that. So thank you, Corinne, from here as well. Yeah, so back to the funniest story. Actually, I was in the second half of the journey, we already had puppies. And as I said in the first video 3 weeks ago, which I encourage you to watch if you haven't, we have been taking jeeps, and we had been on the road and had been sleeping in tents. So at a certain point, we started to have puppies, small puppies, couple of weeks old. And I had been also taking care of some of them. And we shifted that heavy burden, which means that obviously small puppies, as they do, they would release themselves in the night and would scream in the night. So I would be busy with them during the night. But nonetheless, something happened that I have never ever experienced until that point, and haven't experienced thus far either, which was that it seemed to me that some fireflies are flying in the tent, inside the tent, but very close to the puppies. And I couldn't wrap my head around for what the world that is. And you can imagine that by that point, I was exhausted by several nights having horrible sleep. So I have this zombie-like semi-dream-like state in the middle of the night, and you see lights around the puppies, and I just couldn't wrap my head around it. I had several ideas. One was that my flashlight had contact error and it would go on and off in the tent. Another one was that there's some sparks, and I just didn't know what to think of it. But the craziest thing was that upon closer examination, the lights came out of specifically the puppies' tails. And, it was like they were these magical creatures with some milliseconds of flash coming up, and then the whole scene was dark again. And I was shocked by that. And the funniest aspect of the story is that I didn't dare to talk about this for 2 full days with my team, with my fellow friends. And actually, I think it was on the third morning that I collected all my courage and asked, I think at the breakfast, hey guys, this is what I have been experiencing. Have I gone crazy? and, and after a good laughter, just to give kudos to Alice and Tyler, who was there, she said, Martin, you definitely have gone crazy, unparalleled to that. But then Corinne said that this is actually a physical phenomenon of electrostatic release, that there is such a, just a moment. Sorry, I had to leave you in the middle of the story. I had to let the dogs out. So the electrostatic physical phenomenon is that the air in Africa is so dry that as the puppies, their bodies move, and it causes friction with the plastic of the tent, they release these lights. So I haven't gone fully crazy, at least not on that aspect, but it was just a magical physical phenomenon. So, but it was funny. I mean, they were also kind of amused by the fact that I didn't dare to talk about it for 2 full days. It's funny. Okay, I want to show you now the objects that I have bought. Not all of them, but and brace yourselves that you can win one of them by virtue of like 3 clicks on Facebook. So this is real deal. So this is the Takuba, I think. It is a Tuareg sword. Every Tuareg man or young man has one, and it has this beautiful leather inscriptions, if you see, and it's an actual sword. So even has markings inside. Yeah, that's not the one to it. There's a smaller one as well. It's just weird because it's the opposite direction here in the camera. So it also has some nice engravings with leather. It has this handle, this very nice thing. So this is a very mysterious but very lovely container, and I think it could be even from the Bronze Age, you know, and I guess that it's holder of incense because it has this thing, and it looks quite modern, and yeah, it's just very lovely. Here is a quite heavy uh, ornament that goes on your hand, I guess. And a similar one, which I was shocked to learn what this is, and which is also really heavy. Do you have an idea what this is? So I had to learn that this is actually a thing they put on the ankles or wrists of slaves, human slaves. Hopefully not these days, but keeping slaves, as it turns out, is not uncommon in Africa, even within tribes. So I have 2 of them. Yeah, and there's a funny one. So we used to joke that this is a penis container, but this is actually a bird nest, which used to be more global shaped, but it suffered with several moves I had. Okay, and this is a very special little pendant. I think you have seen these on Azawaks, on pictures, and this is the thing. I'm dead serious. You can win this free of charge. I will post it to you if you happen to be the winner. And I think this is on Etsy. This is worth like 25 euros. So it's in leather, has this leather thing, and very lovely, lovely thing. And all you need to do is actually to share this particular post on your Facebook wall, not just the picture itself, but through that link. And you also need to like the page, Azawakh, the current one that we are on right now. And it's the sharing goes, the game goes until I think the 9th of December is what I said. And after that, I will draw a lucky winner who will give me their address, and I'm gonna ship it before Christmas. So here you go. Let me get in. Let me the dog's inside. And now that I'm here back, and let me show you the puppies. Behind me is Inaya, the mother, and here we go. This is Inaya. Say hello. Behind her is Manaji, my Malian male. And Inaya, my Niger import desert bred female, is the mother of the litter, the puppies who are yesterday 5 weeks of age. Okay, there we go. So, and I want to go now into the specificities or my thoughts about the African and versus the FCI or AKC or whatever population. So, those of you who are familiar with my dogs have seen pictures of them, see that they are not the next Crufts champion winners, and that is fine. But I want to just clarify, that this is not something that is specific to the Azawakh. If you go to any desert bred sighthound, or as a matter of fact, not just sighthounds, but any those type of landrace of dogs who are also have the populations abroad and not are not, under the control of a standard living country, you will find that phenomenon that they are simpler. They have shorter legs, or I'm talking about not specifically with the Azawakh, that they have shorter legs, heavier heads, shorter muzzle, probably thicker coat, thicker root. But that would be the same with a Saluki in Israel, or it would be the same with Tazi, or a Basenji in Africa. So, it's just natural. If you would get the world champion of an FCI pedigree, if you could find them in Africa in the bush, that means that breeders had no chance of improving the phenotype of a breed. So let's just get this out of the way, that it is not specific to the Azawakh. I also want to acknowledge that the dogs we have seen, and you can also see that in the photo albums, that they are a heterogenic appearance, and these are a land race there in the Sahel area, which means that obviously they are not a breed, because this is an artificial, the term breed is an artificial expression. It means that there is a standard, okay? A standard defines a breed. And in Africa, it's a land race. So there's no governing body who would include or exclude dogs, because that's not the way it goes. So we are talking about a land race versus a standard driven breed in the West. But so why is it that someone, and I'm just one of many in the line who had been importing dogs from the Sahel, have been importing Azawaks. So why does one do that? I want to quote here an excellent article about Dr. Gabriele Meissen, and let me get that link here for you. So basically, all kudos to Gabriele Meissen on this article. She does a great job in investigating how the breed in the West actually started. So at this point, I just want to briefly summarize what she writes here. So And another very important article I find is this one. So basically, Dr. Gabriele Meissen writes that the first batch of breeding, so it actually happened in, uh, random spots. And the first spot where the European breeding has happened in the 70s was with 5 dogs, but with 1 female. Okay, this was the bitch named Toboro 2 and 4 other males. And this Toboro 2 had been mated with these 4 males consecutively, and those offspring then had been mated then with each other. So you can already imagine what a high degree of COI, coefficient of inbreeding, that has resulted. Similarly, there was the French line that has been contained by 7 dogs. Out of 7 were 2 bitches. And the Yugoslavian line was more extreme even, with 1 bitch and 2 males, Lara, Gao, and Arcoyasidi. So even a 40% of COI was not uncommon. And another aspect that caused the impoverishment of genetic diversity, which was the not too wise practice in the 90s with these super sires who had just won shows. And there are these particular sires who are almost present in every Azawakh pedigree nowadays. One of them would be Kel Tarbanas and Firhun with the astonishing 12 litters, and the full brothers Gefel and Grebun de Garde Épée, who each sired 10 litters. So these are big numbers, and all these effects caused the impoverishment of genetic diversity. And so these very experienced breeders, very importantly, I want to honor here Corinne Lundquist, who I think does the most contribution to the breed. So these breeders have been all acknowledging the fact that if they wouldn't have intervened and hadn't had stepped out to the Niger or the Sahelian population, the breed could have gone easily extinct. And one of the things Dr. Meissen writes in her article is that there was also, it was not just this philanthropic or, selfless motivation, but the dog started to get sick or physically, visibly, faulty, like the basically non-existent front, where the elbows of the dogs were basically touching each other. And, if you imagine the elbows like this, and then the legs resulting in an X, or shortened ribs, or bones prone to breaking, or epilepsy in several lines. And, let's be honest, one of the things that our beloved breed is infamous for is, for some, it's not true for all obviously, the general population, but there are infamous encounters with unstable, neurologically unstable Azawaks who are overly shy, overly aggressive, and it has to do some of the genetics as well, not just nurture aspect of it. So there was this obvious need for the import. I'm just want to honor here the viewers, and I think I skipped here a question. Susanna Tini asks, just curious, what villages, areas in Niger and Mali do they come from, and do they have other siblings in Europe? Sure. So I was lucky enough that the 2 dogs stem from 2 countries even. So, so my female Inaya comes from the village in Niger in Tamaya, and my male is from the famous Menaka region in Mali. it was a very dramatic story that it was a Malian refugee family who had to flee Mali for the very same reason that Westerners cannot enter Mali for decades now because of terrorism and political unstable environment. So they were refugees with a pregnant bitch who whelped, I think, in Niger. But anyway, by the time we had been in Miami, we had been fortunate enough to book several of the male puppies. But Menaji originates from Menaka, Mali, which even the most notorious opponents of the imports acknowledge that that is the go-to place to get the Azawakh. About siblings, Inaya has a sister in the US. I'm not sure I'm entitled to say where she is, so but you can find it out. And Menaji has two brothers in France. So that is it. So my dogs, I'm not sure about the status of the siblings, but my dogs, I'm very proud to say, are registered under FCI, are acknowledged as Azawakh, and have both breeding permit, obviously, and that's their status. And Menaji is available as a sire, which is a mission of mine to, contribute these two dogs. And it is in my control to have a litter with a female, but it is out of my control to get the male used. So this is the place and time that I urge the viewers, the wider Azawakh breeding community, to take advantage of this unparalleled treasure that is a Menaka Mali beautiful male who happens to live on three legs, which I know is psychologically throwing one off, but that has nothing to do with his genetics. And those who have a good eye for dogs will see that he is of excellent phenotype. So that is that. Okay. So I want to come to this argument, this heated argument that is a hot potato, but I want to go there and, possibly piss some people off. But, this is my platform and I can say whatever is on my heart. But I want to stir a conversation. So one of the not everybody is a fan of the current imports, and one of the arguments on the other side is it has to do with this language warfare or this trickery. That's my humble opinion with word magic. I want to go there and address that it's Gerard Copé, who once was basically in my shoes and had been in Africa and even did a wonderful documentary, which is available on YouTube, who had been importing dogs, who also served an important role to widen the genetic diversity. But then he was the one, unfortunately, who had a lot to do with the modification of the standard of the Azawakh in 2015, with perfectly unreasonable and unreal expectations on colors and patterns. And you don't have to be you don't have to be visiting in Africa. You have the luck to see those photos, but I have seen all those dogs as well. That it's the conversation is not about millimeters of white on tip of tails or on chest, but it's a matter of a whole range of colors and patterns that is existent there that I have seen firsthand. We have seen several beautiful, beautiful black Azawaks. We have seen brindle ones, a lot of several shades of sand colors. We have seen dogs with majority white with some red patches. And we have seen blue and diluted dogs. So all this is around, okay? And one of the arguments that rare copy uses is that the original word, the original name of the breed is Oscar, and Oscar, according to his argument, is only present in Menaka, Mali, which, guess what, is not, it cannot be visited anymore, as I said, for decades now. And basically this black and white distinction between Oscar, the real thing, and then there's this ED, which would be just mean dog, which could be anything but a sidehound even. And he argues that everything that we have seen or imported is the category ED, this mongrels, these mixes. And I want to argue that this is a very artificial argument. So it's basically in the eye of the beholder who would define, if you had been presented with a dog, is that an Oscar or is that an ED? And okay, let's go to Africa and show me what do you think is an Oscar or an ED. But the trickery is that you would be, with your filters, with your presuppositions, would make an assumption or a judgment on what a dog is. Or let's do that play with geography. If we go to Menaka, Mali, where does Menaka exactly end? Is the next village not an Oscar anymore? Because that's just the geography. So I want to remind you with what I said at the beginning of this talk, that this is not a breed in Africa. This is a land race. So there is this, if you want to draw a diagram, it would be this classic, I don't know the English name, but it's this classic distribution with some heterogeneity, but this is the same. I have not, just be very clear, I have not seen any other distinct breed of dog. So you haven't stumbled into a Dackel, you haven't stumbled into a German Shepherd or a Bolognese. So nothing alike we have met, only that type of landrace of dog. So that argument just doesn't stand, but it's an artificial argument. I wanna even remind that, you know, in Nazi Germany, this Übermensch, Untermensch category had been also introduced. I know it's out there parallel, but it's just ideology. I think it's a personal revenge. Okay. So I'm obviously passionate about things that I have firsthand seen. And the other thing about it is that I'm Hungarian. Currently, I live in Hungary, and we Hungarians do have a national sighthound breed, the Magyar Agár Hungarian sighthound. I have also owned one. And basically, this is the allergy is that if there would come a person from, I don't want to shit on any particular nationality, but let's just say somebody from abroad would come and would passionately argue and try to convince me try to educate me what a Magyar Agár, what a Hungarian sighthound would be, and wouldn't even ask me of my impression or my thoughts, who actually did own or does own a Magyar Agár. So I want to point out this very unfortunate arrogance and ignorance that certain people exhibit. And I think it takes humility if you claim to respect and if you claim to love a dog breed, you have to respect it. And if you have respect the dog breed, you have to respect the people who have who own them, and the whole environment where that has created them. And there is just no way around it. I think it's a matter of character to be very, edgy again. I want to push the envelope here, quite frankly, that I see a lot of arrogance and ignorance on this debate, and it's not the dogs who benefit from it. And coming back to the comparison with the phenotype, with the appearance, if we select the dogs to show breeding, it has never benefited any dog breed. But what happens is that those features in a dog breed get exaggerated that are already prominent. Okay, so if we talk about Chihuahua, the aim would be to make the dog even smaller. If we would talk about the decal, it would be the aim to make it longer. If we talk about the Azawakh, we just have to watch the dog shows, and it's all about length and this dream-like, swan-like creature who are admittedly beautiful, and obviously this is the primary reason also I was attracted to the breed by these ethereal elegance and their dignity and their beauty. But I think it's important to acknowledge that to have the wider perspective that show breeding has never benefited any breed, and yeah, just come back to the history where this breed has started, and to push the envelope even more because I want to, this is where I think it fits in. This is obviously not true for everybody, but particularly the Azawakh, being such an exquisite, beautiful dog, has every chance of being a projection canvas of their owner's narcissistic needs, of identifying themselves or attaching themselves to the nobility of their dogs. And basically they use their dogs as narcissistic supply, and basically they if they think that the dog is special and unique and beautiful, that would mean that they identify with that it makes them special and above the average. It basically is pathological narcissism. That's what it is. And I think that the rage that certain people oppose these simpler Sahelian dogs is because of that their buttons are being pushed. These narcissistic hidden motivations are being pushed. People are scared that if these mongrels would get mixed in, it would make them basically, it would, they had to associate with these less beautiful dogs, and they lack the foresight and the grander vision that it's about serving the breed and make it healthy. Okay. So I promised you that I would go there and push some buttons here, but I'm very passionate about this. So yeah, I studied in the past, I study several psychological topics. I'm a coach, I'm a supervisor, I study psychology, and it's always about the humans. It's always about the other end of the leash. It's not about the dogs. It's we delude ourselves with we think that we talk about the dogs. We talk about ourselves when we talk about our dogs. Um, that's just some thought for food for thought. Okay, one thing I want to recommend is this book by Strassner and Eilis. They had published it astonishingly in '89, which consists of their Mali trip. So back then they had the fortune to go to Mali. Consists of 92 pages. I just want to show one picture due to copyright, but it has beautiful pictures and text. You'll get it if you want to. And again, you have the unique chance of winning this leather pendant by liking the Melech HaOlam page and sharing that linked post, and be the lucky one. I'm watching the question again. Would you breed them with each other for another litter? meaning my two desert import specimens. I would consider it, and obviously the idea is to improve the FCI or the AKC or whatever pedigree population and to improve the breed, and you know, but never say never. Okay, I'm going on. So this is here an excellent article about the by Dawood Abdullah. On the importance to how actually these import dogs have served the breed in the long run, and how the F1 and then the F2 generation is already phenotypically beautiful or is pleasing to the Western eye. Okay, I think that's a very good article to go through. And another link I highly recommend you is in the Azawakh group. I guess if you're here, it's likely that you're part of the private Facebook group called just Azawakh, like that. And there's this thread with around 207 comments to date, where somebody asked to post dogs that had African ancestors in their generations, in the pedigree in back 5 generations. So these are two links, but basically both shows to the same. But the first is from my blog, and the second one is the actual Facebook link. And and basically you can identify import dogs from the breed archive or the paw pads database. I guess everybody's familiar with that, but just to make sure that it's not missing. So you can search for 3 countries of origins from Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. And according to my knowledge, in the past 10 years, around 30 dogs have been imported, out of which 2 is my manager in Inaya. And yeah, you can just see who they are. So basically, I'm checking again if anybody has questions. Bear with me. Okay, so if you have questions, don't hesitate to comment. So in the first video, I was not shying away of addressing the negative or the challenging sides of keeping an Azawakh, because I think it's very important that a prospective owner would know what they get themselves into. And now I want to emphasize on the positive side, or the beauty of living with these dogs is I think what Azawaks are famous for is how they bond with their owners, how they look into the depths of your soul. And it has to do something with that primitive state of on what level they are domesticated. They very much exhibit this, pack behavior. And it's true, they are an eye candy either way. And you have a unique opportunity to have a pal for life. And actually, coming back to my half African puppies, of whom 2 males are still available, Rauxos and Rushen. I want to go quickly, just briefly around them. I think Rauxos, the firstborn, takes most after his sire, Jamal Eddin Amanar. So if you see Jamal on photos, Rauxos will be the closest to him. And I want to emphasize that all four puppies inherited their father's very lovely, thin and short hair, and have not inherited their mother's thick undercoat, which I'm transparent about. That is what it is. But I have my breeding vision is to improve and take the best available male. And I think Gemma served an excellent job on improving these puppies. So Rauxos, I think, has the most potential to take after his dad, and I call him a gentle prince. He's a sensitive soul. I love that about him. He would be the one to just lay on your lap and look into your soul and just give you empathy. But Rushen, on the other hand, is a beautiful, cheeky little guy who is the clown in the litter, who is energetic, open, and he has some excellent proportions. Inaya's one of the strengths of Inaya is that her bottom is higher than her what's that? Yes, you know what I mean. So Rushan inherited that very nicely, and he has this golden shimmer, this akalteke horse-like shimmer in his golden hair. So he is just really a clown and a great personality. So basically, my talk is coming to closely to an end, and take advantage of this chance to win this pendant. And if somebody has questions right now, I can still answer them. And I'm thinking if I have missed anything. Oh yeah, I want to calm everyone. I don't plan to do any more videos like that. Uh, Obviously, this is a tool to show the puppies, get the word out there. Yes, and to educate people and give knowledge of the first-hand experiences from my expedition trip. And yeah, I think that is about it. So I want to say goodbye again with the picture of the puppies. Okay, thank you for having been with me. Ciao.